Welcome to the Whiskey Explorer. Thanks so much for tuning in for another episode, guys. And tonight we've got a very interesting bottle here for you. We have got the Trails End 10-year Bourbon. All right, so this company here is Trails End, and they are from Oregon. And what's really cool about this is that they're actually finishing this 10-year-old bourbon in Gary Oak barrels from Oregon. So it's actually finished in Oregon Oak, which is a really cool kind of local connection. And also to mention, this is 52.5% ABV. So we've definitely got a nice kind of higher proof bourbon here, or it's 105 proof. And also it is non-chill filtered, so that's great because that means we get all of the esters and proteins, those kind of flavor components that we want to have in the bourbon that tend to get stripped out during the chill filtration process. So this is actually Kentucky bourbon, and it's 10 years old, and they are sourcing, I'm not sure where from, but if I had to guess, I might guess 1792 Barton Distillery. So then they're taking it to their facility, warehouse, distillery, whatever it is they've got there in Oregon, and then they are finishing that in some Oregon Oak cask for an additional year. So that's actually awesome that we get basically a 10-year-old bourbon, and price point wise on this, it is quite an affordable bourbon. So I think right now it's priced at about $87 or $88 Canadian. It's only available so far that I've seen it in Alberta here in Canada. So that's where I got it from, and I actually got it on sale, so I got it for about 75 bucks Canadian. So I think for a 10-year-old bourbon bottled at 52.5%, that's a heck of a bargain. So let's get into this one here. All right, so we're gonna have a quick look at the color in the glass here. Oh, that is a really kind of nice, dark, kind of rich, like mahogany color, extremely inviting in the glass there. So it's looking really good there. Give it also a quick coating on the glass there, a quick swirl. All right, we'll go in for a nose on this one. On the nose, cheers. So initially on the nose here, the very first thing that I got was just like a ton of really sweet vanilla, and also that was mixed in with some really, really nice, inviting, sweet oak note. So we would expect with the 10-year-old age statement and the additional time aging in the Oregon Gary Oak, that this would have quite an oaky presence to it. It definitely comes across on the nose, but it's actually that really nice sweet oak that I like to find in bourbon that typically you're going to really only find in the kind of the older age bourbon. So really nice on the nose so far. Really nice kind of rich vanilla note, some nice caramel and butterscotch, and then that sweet oak note is kind of dominant on the nose. Oh, in the background there we've got some rye spice hiding, so definitely get kind of a bready rye grain note, as well as some citrus. So there's actually some like orange citrus in there as well. I'm thinking that's got to be from the rye that's in the mash bill here. Really nice kind of layered bourbon. It's got some nice cherry coming through now as well. Kind of like a not as strong a cherry as I've got on other bourbons for sure, but it's definitely there. It's definitely kind of in the background. So yeah, it's that sweet vanilla, sweet oak, caramel, and then a really nice rye hit. So it's like a really nice kind of citrusy, like almost like lemon lime, citrus zest. Maybe orange peel zest. Almost kind of reminds me of like wild turkey there actually on the nose. That kind of zesty, kind of citrusy, like rye spice. Really nice, inviting on the nose, guys. Let's go in for a taste on the palate. On the palate, cheers. Wow, that's quite the flavor punch up front. Tons of really densely packed flavor in here. Actually, you know what? On the palate, it's so like such a flavor punch. It's almost overwhelming to the palate, and it's hard to like discern the different flavors. But I think the first thing that I got going on there was a really kind of rich, deep, dark fruit note. Definitely dark cherry, Cherry cola, absolutely. So like deep, dark cherry cola note. Now it's transitioning some really nice vanilla. Really kind of oaky presence here in the mid palate. And it's not kind of that sweet oak that I was getting on the nose. It's more of like an astringent, strong, assertive oak note. So definitely like barrel char, oak, very strong in the mid palate. There is a little bit of mouth coat. It's like decently mouth coating as well. So it's not like fully mouth coating like a Stag Junior or something like that, but there is some mouth coating going on there. There is a little bit of a Kentucky hug going down. Really nice experience. The finish is like cherry coke, definitely mixed in with like a little bit of astringency from the oak. And actually it's got like a drying like aspect. It kind of sucks all the moisture out of your mouth on the end of the palate there on the finish. So there is a drying oak note definitely that's predominant on the finish of this bourbon here. And as you guys can see, I have been enjoying the heck out of this one. It was one of those bottles where I was like, oh geez, I better get a review done of this before I drink it all. So definitely been enjoying this one here. Let's go for a second sip on the palate, guys. Cheers. Yeah, so this is definitely what I'd describe as a bold, full-flavored, in-your-face kind of bourbon. It's not shy. It's not hiding any flavors. This isn't subtle. This isn't like a relaxing kind of like easy sipping experience. This is definitely more of a challenging, assertive bourbon. Up front, you get a really nice cherry note, almost medicinal cherry on the palate. Very cherry forward. And then there's vanilla cream that kind of comes in there. And then immediately there's kind of this drop in the middle palate to this really strong, rather kind of assertive oak note. So I think if you're a lover of oak in your bourbon, you're going to absolutely love this because there is oak here in spades. And I have a feeling that that's the secondary cask finishing in the Oregon oak, the Oregon Gary oak, which might give it like a little bit more of that astringent oak flavor, oak component. So strong barrel char oak note in the center of the palate there. Definitely black pepper, spice, like almost a cayenne pepper on the finish here. The finish is definitely more, honestly, on the lines of like a savory finish than a sweet finish. There's complexity to the finish, but it's like very dominated by that drying oak note and the kind of black pepper spiciness to this finish on this bourbon. All in all, it's a very, I think it's a very well-made bourbon that's really bold, rather complex, and definitely a very in-your-face type of spirit. So if you like that in your bourbon, if you want something that's going to put a bit of hair on your chest, I think this is a bourbon for you. All right, guys, so thanks so much for tuning in for another episode. Until next time, may your sails be full and your drams be fuller. Cheers.